The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Project Nerd as a whole.
I could let them know about the sorrow and the happiness that the future has in store for them. Maybe they could learn from it.
Let's dive deep.
Let's dive right in.
We're gonna dive deep into this.
Let's deep dive into this.
This is Diving Deep.
This is Diving Deep.
This is Diving Deep.
Hey everyone, we are doing the Diving Deep podcast. This is Mia. I'm here with Alan Z, who is a rapper in Atlanta. We're going to be discussing his trip into music and how the current pandemic and world situation has affected him and his industry. And my first question is, what got you into music, into rapping, into all of that?
I fell in love with hip hop like at a super young age. So I just started writing like raps in middle school. And then I started singing when I was 15 because I wanted to add more musical elements to it, especially because I was bullied at an early age. So singing for me was like, all right, well, if these kids make fun of me for rapping because I'm not allowed to or whatever,
yeah,
I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show like another side of me that's maybe more acceptable, you know. And that kind of came out of self-defense in a sense. But I allowed myself to combine both crafts into this like well-oiled machine in terms of my music, because you'll hear a lot of different elements besides hip-hop. Like because I sing, there's a lot of like pop elements, a lot of R&B elements. So I'm a more well-versed musician. And then I recently just started taking acting seriously as of maybe like 2 years now. Mm-hmm. So I can see myself doing that like in the long run. After like I have my hot streak of music or whatever, you know, yeah. That's something I can see myself doing when I'm like 50 and I'm like a silver fox, you know, like I can see myself in that range, you know. So yeah, it's been a pretty like emotional roller coaster for me in terms of like what I've been through, but I'm in too deep to like just say like F it, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I can see myself, a lot of good I can see myself doing, because there are people that look up to me. There are influential people that now know me, and it's like if I'm already here, there's no reason for me to turn back because I have a lot of things to contribute to the world, you know what I mean? So
absolutely. Yeah. What was your original inspiration for wanting to sing and wanting to rap?
I don't know if you know, but like obviously like my favorite rapper is Eminem. So when I was in middle school, elementary school, I was in third grade, I heard him on MTV and I was just like, oh my God, like this guy's so cool. I just stopped liking pop music. I was just like, I had an NSYNC CD. I was like, I'm never listening to this again. You know, I was like, and then I just started studying like the root of hip hop through him, because I went backwards. I was like, okay, so he is involved in this art form. So who are the guys before him, you know, and who are the guys who was his contemporaries? So like I would look up people like Nas and Jay-Z, and then even before them, like Rakim, Kool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, and then, you know, even further back, it's like, where did hip hop originate? So I was like nerding out in middle school, you know.
You really dove deep in there.
Yeah, no, I'm a total rap nerd. Like I can discuss like rap, like history and like just barbershop talks with like just hip hop heads forever. You know, it's just something I'm super passionate about. And so that was my original like dive into like the genre, was just pure love and passion. Just being like, I love what it stands for, is just, you know, like being able to have a voice for yourself. There's something that Dumbfounded said in TED Talk that I kind of resonated with. He was like, hip hop is so unapologetically Black that it made me unapologetically Asian. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like now my voice is an instrument to help my community, you know, but I'm using it in to tell my story.
I think that's super beautiful, that self-recognition basically within such a very, trying to find the right way to phrase it, but just a community that they built for themselves, that's just like, we are here, this is us, this is what we do, and if you're going to get into this, then you need to basically also be unapologetically yourself, because we're not going to apologize for what we've done to get to this point. So if you're not like this, then you're not going to be able to make it in here, basically. Yeah,
for sure. It's just basically having the balls to just like stand up for yourself and just basically say, this is me, like you can take it or leave it, you know? And then with singing, I'm not even gonna lie to you, the reason I got into singing was because I wanted to get girls. So like, I was like the most like honest answer I can give you. That was the initial intent, was just like, oh, girls like my singing voice, so I'm just gonna sing all the time. But now I've like been able to kind of like learn how to like use my vocals and like strengthen it and just be more into the actual art of it as well at a later age, you know, because now I'm able to use my vocals in a different way now, because I've learned a lot of techniques and stuff like that. So I'm obviously throughout the years, I've taken that seriously as well,
Yeah. On your journey, what was the most like the part of your journey that has remained consistent? Like, you started out with this thing about yourself, and it has, like, you've only realized, yes, this is a thing about me that is going to last forever.
I'm going to be somebody that's always going to speak his mind, whether that goes against the grain or not. Since I was very young, I've always had very passionate beliefs, and I've stood up for what I felt was right, and and spoke up about stuff that wasn't right. And even as the world has evolved, I'm still somebody who like will speak up and say stuff that I feel like needs to be heard, So I don't see myself changing in that regard. I mean, I might learn how to censor myself to not get in trouble, but still, like, okay, if the world is messed up in this way, I'm going to be the one to say something if no one's going to spearhead it.
Yeah.
So,
because such a big part of music is growing, developing, sometimes changing your tune or your tone or who you're relating to, and so on and so forth. And while those are beautiful things and great things within music, still maintaining an essence about yourself is important. So I wanted to make sure that I got that out of you to figure out what is you that's going to remain no matter what changes. And the next thing would be, what about you has grown that you have enjoyed about yourself, that you found about yourself?
You mean as like a person and stuff? Or?
Yeah, as a person, as a musician.
I would definitely say that I'm a lot more like open-minded than I was before. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I've had, like I matured later just because, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a boy, but like I just have had a longer time learning how to be more tolerant towards people and also be more willing to listen to other people's opinions and stuff like that. And I would also say, like, I'm learning not to compare myself so much. Like, I've always struggled with that. Like, I've always had this like mentality where even if I'm doing well, I'll compare myself to someone who's doing better. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. and it's really toxic. And I'm not the only person who does it. You know what I mean? I know it's a very common thing amongst just creative people. It's just you're insecure. You're in this weird state where it's like you're so confident about your abilities, but you're also so insecure as a human being because you cling on to what you're able to do so hard that if that's not like at the peak, you feel worthless sometimes. So that's something I've learned, because the more I grow as a human being, the better I feel like I'm becoming as a musician, because I'm not just thinking from an artist's point of view. I'm thinking about humanity. I'm thinking about psychological elements of what makes you a person, what makes you tick, Yeah,
that's great for an audience. That's great for friends. That's great for self. Just that whole way of working through. What has been the most challenging aspect as a musician, just as an overall question?
Well, to be frank with you, the one constant that has been like the biggest obstacle has been just discrimination. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just being in the American music industry is just so racist, especially because America, as you probably know, being a minority, it's a very black and white narrative. Like, if you're not black or white, you don't have skin in the game practically. You have to fight for your voice to be heard. And you know what I'm saying? Asians and Latinos, we know, because it's like, they're going to be like, are you white or are you black? We're none. We're our own people, right? So
neither.
Right. And,
you don't have a letter C option.
Right, exactly. That's been something that I've had to like fight for. And I know that once I'm able to kick down that door, knock on wood, I'll be able to help a lot more people of color that didn't have that pathway, and that's something that kind of like has been a struggle, because it's like I've had so many close calls with like that big break and whatever, and then it's like it will always kind of not come true, because the people that were supposed to push me get scared. They're just like, well, you're Asian, and then it's like, oh, how do we market you? Who do you relate to? And it's like, if you looked at my audience, you would know. It's like, it's not as like simple as, oh, well, if you're this race, you only appeal to this people. You know what I mean? And also just the lack of understanding, like us as Asian Americans, it's like, they're just, well, maybe just go back to like Asia and just like, oh, just go back overseas. Like all these, like, yeah, just like, it's almost like, it's like a nice way to say, go back to your country. You know what I mean? And there's so many of these like microaggressions that comes with being in the entertainment industry. So I'm sorry for this long answer, but it's a lot of, and what sucks about microaggressions is like, you can't always call it out, or otherwise people would think you're too sensitive. Like you yourself know when someone's saying something that is
underhanded. Yeah.
And then if you say, what do you mean by that? And then they kind of gaslight you, and just like, they're just like, oh, I didn't mean anything by it. You're the one that's being super racial. And then it's like, no, I definitely know what you meant by that. So
I see you.
Right, exactly. So long story short, that would be the biggest issue, is just dealing with a lot of just ignorance,
Have you been able to travel a lot, like with musicians? I know you live in Atlanta, which is a big musical city, for
Mhm.
sure. Have you been able to do tours? Who have you toured with? What's been your favorite tour, your favorite venue? Like all of that stuff. I want to know those things because that's very
Okay.
exciting to me.
Okay. If I know you asked like 3 different questions, so if
Yep.
I forget one,
Do the
forget
whole
one,
thing.
just remind me. Okay, so I'll just try and do all 3 at once.
Okay.
I think my music has taken me like to pretty much all over the place. Like I performed in New York, Philadelphia, Texas, California, Las Vegas, Seattle. There's like a bunch of other places. I know I'm forgetting, which sucks. It's like I don't want to like miss out on places I've been. And also I've been overseas as well. So I performed on a TV show in China 2 years ago. The people that I have performed with that people may know are like some like I guess Korean artists. I performed with Sani and Mad Clown. Show with Nada and Trudy from I'm Pretty Rap Star.
Okay.
And that's about it for now. You put me on the spot, so I can't like remember. But if it comes back, I know. Yeah. So I would definitely say it's been cool, very cool to be able to travel based off of your talent and have people come out to support you.
Absolutely. What's been your favorite city that you went to? Maybe not so much that, more like a moment where you were performing that sticks in your mind that you remember?
There's like a couple. The first one would definitely be the Korean Barbecue Festival in Atlanta, which was last year. And there was like thousands of people. So that was a great feeling to know like I'm around that many people and people like came to see me and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was documented and there were so many people there and it felt great. And another one would have to be Philadelphia, because I think in 2015, the first time I actually started developing a fan base was there. Like I did this show, International House of Philadelphia. That's where it was.
Okay.
So I did a show there, and
It's
that was
IHOP.
like, yeah, IHOP. See, I was thinking IHOP, and I was like Philadelphia of International House, and I was like, okay, yeah, IHOP. Yeah, so that was a really good moment because I'll always remember that as kind of like this wholesome moment where I'm just like, no one knows me yet because like I didn't even have Instagram at that time, I think. And I just started Instagram. So it was like everything was new. I was just getting used to feeling like a somebody. So that's always going to feel like really special to me,
Mm-hmm.
And New York is my third one. Is I did a meet and greet and / like show with a bunch of YouTubers like Jerry, Kenny, Courtney and Jasmine, like
Okay.
all these like, big YouTubers. And we had like this fan meet and greet in Times Square in Beaumont. So that was like hundreds of people and it just felt great. It was just like one of my first times in New York and it's like I'm kind of treated like, like somebody again. So
Yeah.
it was
That good stuff.
Mhm.
How long have you been rapping?
over 10 years now, I'd say, because I started when I was 12.
How old are you?
We'll talk off here.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just been something that I feel like is like second nature as like eating or cooking. It's just, like I think about rhymes all the time. Like I'll be like, and not in a traditional sense. I think about like multi-syllabic rhymes. So like I'll think of like a word, like a group of words, and then this group of words rhymes with this group of words, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta write that down. That could go with the scheme, and it's so nerdy, but it's like it's something I'm passionate about.
Do you have like notebooks, like a ton of notebooks just filled with that
Yep.
type of stuff? Oh my goodness.
I write in like chicken scratch, so it's weird, but I get really paranoid about people taking my stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, if you take it, you're not gonna be able to read it. So I write in like these like little passages that only I'll look up. So.
That's actually pretty smart. It's just
Yeah.
like, all right, I mean, if you're gonna take it, you're gonna have yourself a hard time. Good luck.
Right.
I like that. Do you have an at-home studio?
I just built one. Yeah. So I'm really happy because, obviously we're in quarantine, so I wanted to still be productive. So I spent like about 2-3 days building a little setup and it worked really well. I tested it out yesterday.
Ooh, getting good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
That's
I think this
exciting.
week. Yeah. Something new this week.
Do you have albums? And if so, how many?
I have one project. It's an EP called First Time's a Charm. I released it 2017 on my birthday, October 8th.
Oh, okay.
And I'm working on my next project right now. So I think the next project is going to be maybe like 7, 8, 9 songs. It's also like another EP. So I'm really excited about this next project.
Do you have anybody featured on it? You don't have to tell me if you got to keep it a secret.
I gotta keep it a secret.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I don't want to like reveal it and then it's like it doesn't happen. I'm like, well, so much for that,
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it or not too, because I'm still trying to figure out the track list and like what goes where, So yeah.
When you're building an album in your head, is there a theme or like an overall I know there's some people who have like it's just this word. They want their album to represent this word. Is it something like that for you?
Yeah, I definitely can like resonate with that. So like my first project, it's called First Time's a Charm because it's about first impressions. So it's pretty much like 7 songs that sound kind of different, but it made up who I was at that time. So it's like you'll get songs that are like super R&B, like Windows Tinted. You get a pop song like Touch and Go, Distance. You'll get like hip hop songs like Discriminated. Then you get songs that are mixed. So it's like if you only get one shot to like make an impression, then I would like you to start with this and then make a judgment from there, you know. But obviously now I don't want you to make that judgment because I've evolved as an artist. But at that time, that's what it stood for. It was just like, all right, if you've never heard me, this is a good like snapshot of like what I can do for now.
What do you think your forte is as a rapper and as a musician?
As a rapper, I would say I'm definitely like a rapper's rapper in the sense of like I'm a lyricist and a wordsmith. So like my control of the English language is very like proficient, you know what I mean? So I can bend words at will, which is super nerdy. It sounds like wizardry.
No, it's great. That's how it should sound.
Yeah. So being a rap nerd, I'm very meticulous when it comes to writing, but it also, because I study what goes on in today's wave as well, I'm able to like make music that is appealing to myself, but also appealing to a current audience, you know? So like my flows and my cadences I'm always switching it up. And as a musician, I'm like very influenced by like older stuff like Michael Jackson, Prince, you know, and even like newer stuff like The Weeknd, Chris Brown. So I have like this really strong sense of melodic, like my melody game is really strong is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So it's stuff that's like super catchy, you know, if you hear it for the first time, especially when I sing, so.
Who would be a dream to work with? Both. So I'll divide it. Both as a singer, 3 times: singer, group, and rapper. Who would be a dream?
I only get three right.
Yeah, one of each.
Okay, so as a rapper, obviously Eminem. You know, if me and him can just like have like a back and forth, that would be incredible. Because then I can write at 100%. I've never written at 100% before because. Really? It's like Dragon Ball Z. Like I've never revealed my final form, so it's like I feel like I save that for rappers that I feel like are at that level of like competency. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to write at this level to be able to match this person's power level. So yeah, Eminem. So I can write at 100%. Singer, I would say, because Michael Jackson passed away, I can't say him. I would say maybe like either Trey Songz or Chris Brown, because those are like my 2 heroes growing up as singers. As a group, I'll probably say BTS because I think they're super dope. So I'll
try to keep it together with that response. I'll try to keep it together. I stand real hard.
I don't know if you know this. I got in contact with their producer who made My Time. So he, like me and him have been talking, and he heard my Time cover. So you know he's willing to work with me. So yeah, I don't know. Anything's possible. So we'll see.
Okay, I'm trying to like keep my reaction.
No, you can fangirl as much as you want. It makes you feel better.
That is amazing. I'm so excited for you. I hope it grows and does the thing. I'm so excited for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, what is final goal for you? What would be your top tier accomplishments?
The end goal for me is to attain financial stability for me and my family. And that's like in 7-8 figures, you know? And it would be a long lasting career in the entertainment industry as an artist and as an actor. Someone who can, like, I see myself as like an Asian Childish Gambino. So somebody who can go from acting to rapping to singing to, if I want to do stand up, just anything I want to do, if I touch it, I have the Midas touch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the end goal, is to be a person of influence in this industry. So
would 10-year-old you be proud of you now?
I think yes and no, only because I'm very much so like my own Asian dad. So it's like, if I do something that's like noteworthy, I'm just like, is that it? It was like, more. So it's like, yes, I would be proud for the fact that I'm a much more confident and happy person. And I have accolades that I can bring home to my family and be like, hey, look, I made it on this, you know, but I know there's still a level that I have yet to reach that I will reach. So it's a yes and no.
In the world of now, with the pandemic going on, how has that affected you? I know you said that you'd bought yourself a studio for you to be able to work with, but how else has it affected you?
Well, all my events and appearances have been postponed. My interviews that were, were in person or pushed back. And so a lot of like money and exposure that was going to come in have been kind of minimized. So I had to kind of, just be more innovative, kind of like what we're doing now, which is these like live stream. Well, I don't know how to explain it, but those
Yes.
virtual interviews and,
Yes.
and I was going to start doing like a lot of conventions and stuff too. Like I was supposed to do a convention with, the guy who plays Frylock on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Me and him had like this panel right before the pandemic, hit. So that kind of sucks, but we postponed that.
Okay.
So,
that would have been a great one. Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was about diversity in entertainment. And I love talking about stuff like that. So
Absolutely.
But when it happens, I know it's going to be a great one. I just I'm really passionate about talking about stuff like this, so I'm really excited for that. So in the mix of me not being able to do events, I started a Patreon. And so that has allowed me to be really interactive with my fans and have them engage with me on a more personal level. So, there's been a lot of really supportive members and I'm super happy for them joining. It makes me feel really good because now I can release a lot of exclusive songs that no one will ever hear. It's like, oh, I made this song in college, but it's really good, but I don't want the world to hear it. So here you go. It's all the gems so they can sell it on eBay when I'm here. You're invested into your own future. Yeah, so I started that. I'm also reaching out to a lot of people just in the world, so we can start doing stuff while we're still, quarantined. It's like I'm still making connections. I'm still networking, so that I can set up for when this whole stuff blows over. It just helps in terms of thinking this is not going to be our forever future, right? You got to think this is just temporary. This is just downtime. So you got to grind it out and just be productive. So
the whole cultural effects of, especially as an Asian person, I want to know how that has affected you, what you've seen.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm very alarmed and I'm very worried. I pray every day for my family, my community. It kind of sickens me that people are scapegoating Asian people, and I get it. It's people are angry, people are frustrated, and it's Asians have never been good at defending ourselves. So I can kind of see why it's almost oh, okay, well, let's just pick on the weak because these people are not going to stand up for themselves, and that's what sucks is because we've been swept under the rug for so long. It's Asian crimes have been notoriously underreported. But now it's people are finally speaking up. So it affects me a lot because it's I get really scared for the people I love, you know what I mean? And I think that innocent people shouldn't be blamed for a pandemic that affects all of us, especially because it's the World Health Organization have said, it's we still don't know where this came from. So for people to kind of pinpoint and say China is a virus, it's really not only offensive but hurtful to racist people that will immediately think, oh, well, these people are the cause, so let's all attack them. Mm-hmm. It's scary, it's I don't know if I have to run into someone like that and if I have to beat someone up just to protect whoever is near me. You get what I'm saying?
Has Atlanta treated you well, and would you ever go to the West Side or up further to New York? Would you graduate basically to those
I graduate. Well, speaking of graduation, I first moved to Atlanta for college. I went to Emory University, and that's when I fell in love with Atlanta because that was still old Atlanta. That was before the transplants came. That was very much still very Southern hospitality. It was just it was that era of swag surf. That was Roscoe Dash.
Yeah, yeah.
Very warm memories of what that Atlanta felt like. When I moved back to Atlanta in 2015 or 2016, it was a whole different world. It was now it's all trapped out, and it's there's so many transplants. It's now oversaturated with just people who want to make it and there's scammers that prey on people's dreams, and it's not the city that I fell in love with. So I would not say that I feel the same. I mean, I tolerate it.
Yeah.
I'm here, so it's I still have friends here. It's cool. But I've definitely felt my mind is graduated because when I went to Cali and I started meeting friends in LA and the Bay Area, I was man, this is really cool. I really like the community here, So I can see myself gradually moving more towards LA and Cali and San Francisco, especially when I get more opportunities, especially for acting and stuff.
What got you into acting?
I've always wanted to act because I feel I have this array of emotions that will never be really shown unless I'm acting. It's because for example, if I wild out in person, you'd be oh, this guy's crazy. If I wild on that scene, you're oh my God, give him an Oscar. You know what I'm saying? Or if I don't know. I feel acting is a really good way to be an extension of yourself, right? As human beings, we have this persona that we kind of keep pretty regularly. Otherwise, people say we're schizophrenic or that's not the word. What's the word? Multiple personality disorder, right? Yeah. But as an actor, you're allowed to show all these different sides of who you are and also play people that you're not. So you have this ability to tap into people that you may not even relate to, but you're like, oh, I'm gonna study this character, so I want to play this person who I have nothing in common with, but now I'm gonna learn why he is this way. A big reason why is because I've always seen the void with Asian Americans in TV and film. So it's like growing up, I was like, okay, there's Bruce Lee, there's Jackie Chan, but where are the love interests? Where are the, like just the normal Asians? Why are we always the delivery man? Why are we always martial artists or the evil villain? I'm like, this got to change, so I've always felt like I need to do something about it, And I was like, and people have always told me I have the face for acting. So like as a very in a narcissistic way, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I should pursue that. So I just.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks.
You're very expressive. That's good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the long story as to why I want to act. Is really I want to make a difference, Like so when young girls see me and in a like a positive way, they won't reject Asian people. They're like, oh, I love this guy, so maybe I won't be so racist towards his people. You get what I'm saying? Because people it's always like this personal investment. Like a lot of the people I see standing up for Asian people that aren't Asian usually are into Asian stuff, or they have an Asian significant other, or they have Asian friends. It's like if it's not related to like your life, sometimes you don't care. So I feel like it's important to have figures that you're like, oh, well, I love this person of this color or descent. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that they're good because I care about them.
Do you have Asian actors and non-Asian actors that you've looked up to that you admire, whose work you appreciate?
I would say like on the non-Asian side, I have a bunch. Like I really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt because I feel like that's someone I can kind of see myself like in that range of acting, and just very like versatile. Like I can be very deadpan, but I can also be expressive, like you said. Mm-hmm. Mark Wahlberg, just because he's also versatile in his own sense, is like he can play comedy and tough guy. And Denzel Washington, Will Smith for sure, Jim Carrey. Like people that have that raw ability to act. As far as Asian actors, John Cho is definitely a favorite of mine. He's pioneer for sure. Sung Kang, Daniel Wu from Into the Badlands, he's dope. Henry Golding, Steve Yeun for sure. Glenn on Walking Dead, he's great. So yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch that I'm missing, but obviously the OGs like Bruce Lee and Jet Li, that's goes without. Lucy Liu too. She's really cool. She's really dope.
She is.
Her character in Oren Ishii is like the best part of Kill Bill.
It is. Yeah. It is. Like, it's one of my favorite parts of Kill Bill. Absolutely. Yeah.
I remember when I watched both parts, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little underwhelmed after her part ended. Because like everything else seemed like it dragged on. It was like the guy with the shotgun, but then like Oren Ishii was like, it was just so
and
dope.
The art that went into it too, because it was so unexpected, and you're just like, thank
when
you.
When you hear about her story, like how her family was murdered, and she took over the whole syndicate, and then she like murdered someone who like defied her for being Chinese and a Japanese, or it was just like it was like almost like a political statement.
Yeah.
Like, don't mess with me. It's like I will cut your head off.
Anybody else want to try?
Yeah, exactly. I want to use that for like an intro on a song. It was so cool. Like that one.
Sample it or something, or just like place it right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like
that would be so badass. So when it comes to creating your music and developing it, what is the song that you are absolutely in love with that you feel most proud of? And then what's one that like you made it, but oh my God, was it a struggle?
I'll answer the first one because the second one I need clarification. The first answer, as far as like the song that I'm most proud of, I can only speak for now because I know I have a lot of better songs afterwards. Actually, you know what? Can I say like 3? Because I'm not gonna be
absolutely.
The 3 right now that I'm the most proud of are gonna be on my EP. The first one is a single called "Blame It On Me," and it has like Usher, Trey Songz vibes, and it's the one song that I made when my voice really got stronger this year. So like when you hear the hook, it's like it comes at you in a very climactic way. And people that have heard it is like, oh my God, I didn't know he can sing like that. So that for me is a proud moment to know like I've reached this peak in terms, not peak, but like this level of my craft. Mm-hmm. And another song that I'm really proud of is a song called Closure, which is also on my EP.
Okay.
And that talks about 2 relationships I've had in the past. One being from college, from this half Asian girl, and the other being this girl that I was in a toxic relationship with. So it's like these 2 different stories. Okay. And it's basically me finding closure in these 2, narratives, and that's super just deep and personal for me.
Yeah.
And I'd say like the third one I'm really proud of would have to be a song called "To All the Girls." And it's the intro to my next EP that I'm talking about. And it's basically like a lot of the girls that have been in my life, like I'm addressing each with basically saying like, if you've ever done me wrong, I'm sorry if I ever done you wrong. I'm sorry. It's like this whole story about, you know, like just what I've been through as a man and just owning up to my mistakes, but also accepting things that didn't go right, you know? So yeah, I'm all about like, you know, finding resolutions and just growing in accountability. So
no, that's beautiful. The question for the struggle was,
okay,
there are songs that artists make that there's this one piece that's just perfect, but they are having the hardest time putting everything else together with this piece. Was there a song that you had that was like that? And how was that process for you?
So there's this one song that I haven't finished recording yet, but I can see myself struggling with it, not because it's hard to record it, but because it's so deep. And I have a song called Scars, and I don't know if I want to put it on my next EP or not, but basically it's a song where I unveil a lot of scars about myself and the trauma that I've had as a child, and a lot of really stuff that people won't know about me in terms of what I've been through. And it's one of those things where it's like, do I even want people to hear it? You know, it's healing for me, but at the same time, it's like a trigger warning. It's like, this is stuff that happened in my life. I don't know if you really want to hear it, you know, but that's one of those things where I feel like if done right, and if people hear it, it could be empowering, because then they're like, you listen to it like, oh, well, this happened to me too. Yeah, that would be a song that's like, it's needed, but it's also a hard song to, you know, to complete.
When you're at home, especially now, and you're stuck in a rut, like creator's block, basically, how do you get out of it? What do you do to decompress?
I work out, and I find that sometimes when I'm working out, I just think of like melodies or lyrics, just because, you know, when you work out, your blood is flowing, so that allows your mind to just almost be in a meditative state, because like while you're working out, the last thing you want to think about is how much it hurts, so you're thinking of other things, and that allows me to be creative. So sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I'm sitting on my desk writing, it's like sometimes it's hard, because it's like you're in this sedentary place and you can't really move, and sometimes you need that kind of boost to write your next line, or, you know, think of the next concept.
You have been positively amazing to talk to, and I super appreciate you coming out here. We're going to end this podcast, but I really want to know all the best ways that we can find you. And I know you mentioned your Patreon, so please let me know that, so that way we can support you as well.
My Patreon is patreon.com/AlanZ. That's ALANZ. The tiers that I offer is $1 a month is the lowest, which is Team Alan Z, and that's the one where you can unlock all the exclusive content, the behind the scenes stuff, pretty much everything on my Patreon.
The goodies.
Yes, the goodies. $5 a month is Superfan, and that's Instagram shout outs, Patreon live streams and chats, as well as everything offered in the first tier. And the last tier is $20 a month, which is VIP/personal requests. So fans have the ability to make requests from me. Like sometimes they'll ask for like a song from like My Fault, you know, like that random song that I would never release that I'll show them. They can ask for a freestyle, covers, music reviews if they have like a band they want me to review. Sometimes like just, you know, like a message to them, or like, you know, like I even offer, I was like, yo, I'll show you how many ways I can rhyme your first and last name. Like I'll make an entire,
cool.
You know what I mean? I'll make an entire like verse for you, just showing you how easy, like, you know what I mean? So I was, you know, as far as everything else on social media, like you guys can find me at Alan Z Music. So
across the board.
Yep. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, everything. I accidentally went viral on TikTok in December, so I just kind of kept it.
Well, you've been amazing, and we're gonna have to keep in touch for sure.
Yep.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to everybody on the podcast. Hope everyone is doing well, and we will talk to you guys later.